Alright guys, here's the evidence bag that we're left with after the destruction of the Victorinox recruit. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what we got left with. Once I was done barbecuing the crap out of this guy, I just wrapped him up and stuck him in his bag so there wouldn't be bits of burnt orange marinade and so on going everywhere. But yeah, I mean, a lot of you guys saw on Instagram and in the last video that this guy did not fare too well in the end. He was really tough. We did a number of tests on him. If you haven't seen that video, this got dragged behind a truck. It got thrown off a bridge. Got rolled down a hill in a coffee can full of nails, and it got barbecued with some marinade at quite high temperature. So it was pretty damn tough, and I was actually pretty impressed with how it held up. And to be honest, a lot of this black stuff that you see is just burnt on food residue and marinade, and if you cleaned all that off, you could definitely sharpen up these blades. If you were in the situation where this was the last thing you had available to you, you could sharpen that blade in a rock and you could survive. So that's pretty cool. The issue we have here, as you can probably see, is that the heat warped the liners, or the frame of the knife, if you will, and yeah, this ain't shutting too well. The small blade can shut because it's so short. The large blade, I imagine, it will not shut in there. But with the help of a vise or some vise grips or something, or even a hammer, you could probably bend that back into shape. And yeah, so I was going to do another video where I put this thing through some more tests, but there really is no point at this stage. The Celador scales came off in bits and pieces kind of as the test went along. I'm going to try and show you the condition of these. They just got scratched up a bit. They didn't crack or break or anything. I mean, these, let's bear in mind, this was a well-used SAK before I started, hence why I went through the torture test thing rather than reviving it. So they were pretty beat up to start with. And okay, they're very scratched and you know, scored up, but they're not cracked or broken. They would probably still glue or fit or at least glue back on. So they held up pretty well. The knife itself held up pretty well until the last. So pretty impressed with it. But at this stage, there's not really any point in scraping all this off and putting it through anymore, because it's been pretty well tested, and you know that is a failure of sorts there, I guess. But I think the point was proven that these are pretty tough, and that video did release a bit of the inner butt hurt in people, and I expected that in the comments and the thumbs down. But you know, it's just a test, and a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, why didn't you restore that SAK? I could have used that, this and that. And yeah, fair enough, but I mean, these recruits are so cheap, let's bear in mind, and the cost of shipping in Canada is so ridiculous that frankly I could have PayPal'd someone the money to buy a new one for less than I could have shipped it to them in the States. So that's basically why I did it. I didn't feel like I don't feel too guilty for what I did. It was a little hard to do at times, but I don't feel too guilty. So leading on from that, what do we do next? Well, if you watched the original video where I got a whole bunch of these cheap off eBay, well-used SAKs, you'll know that I got 2 recruits. This was the second one, slightly better condition. The first one was really pretty poor before it went through all those tests. This is the second one, a little scratched up. Still has tweezers, toothpick. Scales aren't too bad. I did touch up the blade a little bit. This one had a lot of what looked like Sharpie pen over the back. I used some lighter fluid and took all that off. So overall it's looking like a pretty decent condition SAK now. I have a new recruit of my own. So there's a dead one, a medium quality one, and I have a new one already, so I don't really need this knife. I did touch up the edge a little bit. Oops. So as you can see, it's not exactly you know, smooth paper slicing sharp, but it's most definitely got an edge on it. Touch that up a little bit. So it's a perfectly usable, perfectly good knife. Not looking too bad at all there. So I called the destruction of this one here episode 1. Do we want an episode 2? Let me know in the comments, guys. Excuse my cat in the background there. He's hungry. I'll feed him in a minute. Do we want an episode 2? Does this guy get a similar treatment? And what I always had in my mind was to do kind of a set of unrealistic comedy dramatic tests, which is what happened to this guy. I mean, in real life it's not going to get dragged behind a vehicle and thrown off a bridge, is it? But those are the sort of tests I did with this one. And the second idea I had was to do something much more realistic, which would be betoning wood, possibly cutting a lot of hard rope, maybe cutting some metal, some stuff like that. Hard use tests basically, but nothing too ridiculous. So more of a like survival type situation, recreation with one of these knives. So do you want to see this guy go through that until it breaks, and we'll see how long that is? Or the other option is, do I just donate this to someone who wants it? So let me know in the comments what you think, and depending on popular opinion, I'll either post another video which will be the test and destruction of this one, or I'll post another video saying, you know, come get it, whoever says I want this first gets it, and I will ship it to them free of charge. So let me know what you think, guys, in the comments, and also what you thought of this one. And if you do want to see this go through some kind of real world tests, do give me some ideas and stuff that you'd like to see happen, and we'll make it work. You know, even if it's submersing this in a bucket of salty water for a week and see what happens, stuff like that. So I'm in no rush to make that video. We'll have some fun with it if you want to do that. If you want to see it go to a deserving person, then let me know. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll be back with more videos soon, and appreciate your comments. Cheers.